Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Fifer, served up by Wendy's on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan. Download the Wendy's app today.
Welcome in. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up fresh by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM to 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, out here at Kelly's Bleachers on Blue Mound, right by the stadium. Shuttles to and from the game. Obviously, come on out, hang out with us. And we're out here thanks to Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea, made with real iced tea and real vodka. Refreshingly smooth and easy to drink. No bubbles to fill you up. It's a perfect game day sipper. Come out, have one today. Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea out here at Kelly's Bleachers on Blue Mound. I'll be out here doing this show till 5:30 this afternoon, a little extra 30 minutes. And then from 5:30 to 7, it's going to be the leadoff show, powered by Potawatomi Sportsbook, with that guy, the big old hunk of love. Tommy Wirtz will be out here from 5:30 to 7. And those Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Teas going on while we're here at Kelly's, $5. $5, Charlie. Come out here and have one of those. Poor Charlie Utzen, always stuck back in the studio, never gets to come out and have any fun. I feel bad. I do feel bad, Charlie.
One of these days, you'll be nice and you'll let me go out and I won't be trapped in the studio anymore. I mean, one of these times you guys could bring me some food back or something, that would be a nice consolation prize.
Maybe another time. But just remind me later. Maybe we'll do it another time. Yeah, that's a possibility. Coming up on today's show, we're going to talk with Andrew Wagner. Go inside the clubhouse. Brought to you by Focus Baseball, a Forbes Sports Brewers writer. He's over at the stadium. They have a lot going on over there today. So they're talking with Willie Adames, former Brewers shortstop. I think around 2:30 or so. Originally, we had him in at 2:40 because Tim Dillard, who's normally with us at 3:20 on Thursday, is with us today at 3:20 instead. FanDuel Sports Network, Wisconsin Brewers analyst. He'll be joining us at 3:20. He also is inside the stadium, like Andrew Wagner, but he'll be joining us via video on YouTube. Remember, you can stream us on YouTube as well. Just search the Fan Milwaukee on YouTube. Check out our videos, check out our shorts, all that fun stuff on YouTube. Green and Gold update coming up. Kay Adams from Up and Adams was at Packers training camp yesterday for the Brawls. That played out. She had a chance to talk with Jordan Love, Matt LaFleur, a whole bunch of different people. Played some clips from that coming up at 4 o'clock. We'll also talk some about the Packers-Seahawks game coming up tomorrow at 3 o'clock. The last exhibition game for the Packers. Can you believe it? The NFL season is upon us. The regular season is upon us. Fantasy football drafts are going to be upon us as well here in the next couple of weeks. But we start first with this weekend over there at American Family Field, and a couple of different things going on with the Brewers playing the Giants. Number one, tomorrow night is Bob Uecker Umbrella Night at American Family Field. I'm stoked for that. Got tickets for that, taking the family. Going to get ourselves a Bob Uecker umbrella. I am a little concerned, if I'm being honest, because for a 6 o'clock game, gates open at 4 o'clock on Saturday. Okay. Now, for two grown adults, that's completely fine. However, when you have a 3-year-old and 9-year-old in tow, and now you're in the stadium for 2 hours lugging around umbrellas because you can't go out and come back in for whatever the reason. So that's not a possibility. So now it's, I can't leave them by my seat. Somebody could take them, and then you lose the umbrellas, and then you're mad, and the whole thing is ruined at that point. So I'm trying to figure out the best plan of attack, Charlie, for how I'm going to approach this tomorrow.
I think the best plan of attack is I think you got to pack mule the kids a little bit, tie the umbrellas to their backs or something. And then if you're in a rush or anything, you just pick up the umbrellas and the kids are tied to the umbrellas. And then it's like double duty. Then you don't have to carry the kids and the umbrellas in one arm each. They're in the same hand or same arm.
So you're saying to tie the umbrella to the kids with some rope or something, like a backpack.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Put them to work, man.
I don't know. I'll bring it up to Kay and see what she says. I'm not convinced she's going to agree to this tactic, but we will see at the end of the day. So that's going on Saturday. Then Sunday is going to be the really emotional day, right? The celebration of life for Bob Uecker on Sunday. Bob Costas is going to be there. I think Bob Costas is the MC of it and running that whole thing. That's going to be an emotional day at the ballpark as well. So it's really going to be a lot about Bob Uecker this weekend, and as it should be, right? I mean, as we've talked about before, if there was a Mount Rushmore of the Brewers, the first two people on the Mount Rushmore are Robin Yount and Bob Uecker. And then you can fill out the last two from there kind of going forward. Brian Anderson brought this up a couple of weeks ago after one of the Brewers' rallies. And he said he was going to call the moment of, this 14-game winning streak and everything that goes along with it, Uecker magic is what he called it. That, Bob is looking down from the heavens above, kind of helping this Brewers team out here as much as he can. My question, Charlie's question, is quite simple. How much do you believe in Uecker magic? How much are you buying into the Uecker magic concept of this is maybe that magic carpet ride year thanks to Bob Uecker? Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Sound off with a recorded voice message on your Odyssey app, Facebook, and Twitter at The Fan Milwaukee. And, of course, you can join the Dugout or YouTube chat and chat with us on YouTube as well. Just search The Fan Milwaukee there. I will say I am pretty bought into Uecker magic at this point. You can kind of lean whichever way that you want. You can believe in whatever you want to believe in or whatever else. But if we go back to even before the year starting, what was it about? It was about just a bit outside the documentary on the 1982 team. How many times did we have those producers on this show? Numerous times. Kelly Call and those guys. A lot. And they were winning awards, and now they're streaming, and they were in the different Marcus movie theaters around the state, all over the state. Then they were in different states. They were down in Illinois, and they were creeping over into Michigan and Iowa, I think. And these just a bit outside documentary just blew up. 82 World Series, 82 Brewers, the 1 seed in the playoffs, and took that 1 seed and rode it to the World Series. Then you have the Bob Uecker passing as well that goes along with all of this. And that was a moment. And you have Pat Murphy kind of talking about, like, look, man, we're playing for this dude now. Well, now let's go. Let's do this right. If you remember last year, with the moment him and Yelich had, and Yelich was crying, never told anybody what that was all about or whatever. But it was clear, or made clear now, after all of this has gone down, that they knew then that Bob probably was not going to be back this year, and that was probably it. And that last year was kind of the year where they were kind of rallying around and trying to finish this thing so Uecker could see the Brewers win a World Series and call a World Series winner.
That hurt
Obviously,
this team.
that didn't happen. Yeah.
That hurt this team more than, I think, almost anything, more than losing the World Series in 1982. I think losing Bob Uecker is one of the biggest moments for this Milwaukee Brewers organization. And yeah, it was going to happen at some point, but it hurt them last season that they didn't get to do it for him. And this year they can still do it for him, but it's not going to mean the same to them. I think they have to go all the way to the World Series if they want to prove it to Uecker that they can do it.
I think, look, we've talked about this in the past, and I've had conversation with my friends, and it's always the same thing. Why can the Marlins team, find some magic and all of a sudden ride a really super young team all the way to win a World Series with Jack McKean, right? The Marlins bought another World Series ring, but the one where it's McKean and away they go, that was a huge moment for the Marlins. The Brewers seemingly can never find that magic in a bottle. They can never seemingly find that magic carpet ride. I called the Packers 2011 team the magic carpet ride year. 16, 17 guys on the IL, and somehow or another, everybody that fills in plays as well, if not better, than the guy they're replacing. And they go and they win a Super Bowl. That was a one-time deal. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers never got back to another Super Bowl after that. And you can talk about, 2014, the heartbreak, and they got screwed. Fine. But still, you had that run. The Brewers have never had that run. You had Braun and Fielder. You would have thought for sure with Braun, Fielder, Hardy, Hart, Weeks, they were winning championships, as we talked about yesterday, all the way up, right? They won a championship at A. They won a championship at AA. And here they come. And everybody's like, well, man, they're better than everybody in the minors right now. They're beating everybody. This is going to finally be our moment to go to the World Series. Same thing. You get to the LCS, and that's as far as you can go, and you don't get there with that crew. So that crew's done. And then Stearns comes in after Doug Melvin, and he makes his, I'm going to go get me a couple of studs, gets Yelich, gets Lorenzo Cain. Okay, now we're going to make a run at this. And they make a run at it, and you have 18, and they get to the LCS, and it's close if you're watching on YouTube. It was so close to beating the Dodgers and getting to the World Series. And you can't finish, and you can't get there. Since then, you go to the postseason seemingly every year, and you get knocked out as soon as you get in. Can't even win around the post series. The 2 times in the history of this organization, this team has been the 1 seed. The 82 team, when they went to the World Series, and the 2018 team, when they went to the NLCS. Those are the only 2 times in history this organization has been the 1 seed. Is it any different this year? Can you take Uecker Magic and ride that to a World Series victory? Can you take Uecker Magic and ride that to a World Series championship parade? Not a parade after you lost, but a parade after you win the World Series. Can we get to that point? The Bucks have won a championship, for God's sakes, and the Brewers haven't to this point, Charlie. So can you ride it that far? That's what I want to know. Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Facebook, Twitter, at The Fan Milwaukee. Of course, join the dugout on our YouTube chat as well. Q on In the Dugout says, Cheapo Mark A only lit up the stadium blue for you one night after he passed. I don't know, man. Like, I just had an idea, by the way, Charlie. I'm going to bring to you in a second.
All right.
Just something popped into my head that I think would be brilliant for the Brewers. But, well, hold on 1 second. The whole cheapo lights thing, that's not a cheapo thing. I don't know why they did it one night. I don't know why they went that way. But what do you think about this for idea? What do the Sacramento Kings do when they win a game?
They light the beam, baby. One of the best traditions of basketball now.
They light the beam. So why can't the Brewers have something around Uecker and a blue light or something like that after every game they essentially light the Uecker light or whatever you want to call it? I don't know what the clever name is or what it works, but there's some type of big light that goes into the sky for all of Milwaukee to see after Brewers victories, and you name it after Uecker, like To the Heavens for Bob, or I don't know, something along those lines, and build it around Bob Uecker.
I think that could work. You could just use the Uke light. Don't they have that already that they like put out like in front of the statue and stuff sometimes?
It's not just strong enough.
But you can make one that's strong enough?
That's what I'm saying. Right.
But like where it just says Uke up in the air.
Yes, right. It says Uecker. It's not a beam necessarily like Sacramento has. It has nothing on it. It says something that says Uecker, and it goes up like a bat signal, right? And when the Uecker signal goes up in the air, you know the Brewers won the game that night. Charlie, it's brilliant.
It'd be pretty cool. Or you could do like, I know how they changed the lights on the bridge. Maybe you could do like find a way to project like a plaid kind of light on the bridge or something for the night, or do like the colors in between to kind of make something like that. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's a big deal. Q right back at it again in the dugout of YouTube chat. Says because Mark can't afford sand or utilities. Now you're just going after his personal life about the sand thing, man. Like,
the sand thing is pretty funny, Sparky.
About, it is funny, yes. But if you don't know what he's talking about, just Google Mark Anastasio and sand, and you'll see what Q is referencing. I'm not going to go to that rabbit hole and talk about that. But I think there is something to this, and I think the Brewers know. I think the Brewers feel it a little bit, right? Don't you think? If you had Pat Murphy, we're out here as Kelly's Bleachers. If Pat Murphy was sitting out here, right, off day, having a Sun Cruiser, vodka, iced tea, he's chilling up here, and we're just talking. And you're like, hey, man, like, how much do you believe there's something like kind of supernatural, something like out of our control kind of going on right now with Uecker Magic? Do you think Pat Murphy goes, yeah, man, I kind kind of buy into it. Yeah, I'm kind of there. I mean, I would never say it in front of like a radio mic, but I think there might be a little something going on. Do you think Pat Murphy buys into it?
No.
I think he does.
No,
I think he does.
I think he goes and says, these guys are such hard workers. We're fighting. We're underdogs. There's no magic secret. There's no secret sauce, like he said multiple times now. It's just that we're hard workers and we play the game right. But he would also add, that's how Uecker wanted the team to play. He wanted them to play the right way. He would say that Uecker, the spirit may be through this team right now, but it's no magic secret. It's no secret sauce. We're just playing good ball.
All right, so here comes Trevor on Twitter. And Trevor, I love Trevor. I don't know if he loves me, but Trevor on Twitter says, stop ignoring the elephant in the room. The MLB is rigged against small markets. That's why it's so hard to win a championship. The NBA and NFL are much fairer leagues. Talk about it, please. Okay, Trevor, let's talk about it. First of all, I totally disagree. Let's start there. Now, you could say from a not having a salary cap standpoint or a harsh luxury tax penalty that from that aspect, the NFL and NBA are better. Okay. I don't know how old you are, Trevor, but I'm coming up on 50 next year because I'm freaking old. Yeah, Charlie will agree. And I'm telling you right now, man, I did post-game shows after Bucs games on this radio station for 15 years, 16 years, whatever it was. And I can tell you for certainty, every season, probably 30 to 40 games, we had callers calling into the post-game show on the Fan saying, the referees screwed us again because we're a small market. The NBA doesn't want the Bucs to win. The referees are against us. They're always in favor of the Lakers or Steph Curry. Or always. That's always been a thing. And you know what I would say on the air, Trevor? I would say the same thing. When you get a superstar, you'll start getting calls. And if the Bucs don't get one, you're not going to get the calls ever. And then when you get one, you got to win a championship. You got to be good and earn the respect of those guys. So what happens? The Bucs get Giannis. The Bucs win a championship. The Bucs have a superstar. And I know what you're thinking. Sparky, there should be a million more calls called against Giannis getting hacked left and right in basketball games that he doesn't get. It's true. Okay. But I think you could also say the Bucs are getting way more calls now than they did with Michael Redd, Andrew Bogut, Desmond Mason, Larry Sanders. They get way more calls now. They're at the free throw line way more now than they were back with those guys back in the day. There's a respect factor that goes along with that. Major League Baseball, I agree with you. They need to probably fix it to a certain degree. But why the Brewers can't get over the hump, how much of that really has to do with payroll when we get to the NLCS? How much of it has to do with payroll when you get to the divisional round of the playoffs or the wild card round? Isn't it simply just the hottest team wins? And the Cardinals got there barely over 500 and we're on it all the way into the World Series. We're on it all the way in, folks. They didn't have bigger payroll than everybody else in Major League Baseball. I think it plays into it. The Brewers have figured out how to win within it, but now they have to figure out how to be hot at the right time of the year, Charlie.
Exactly. I think that's something that the Diamondbacks just a few years ago did. They were just the hottest team. The New York Mets last season, they didn't make it to the World Series, but they were the hottest team going into the playoffs and rode it through a nice playoff run there. I think that's what matters most for a lot of these games. It's such a long season that 162 games, I don't really think you can judge how the season went until the end of the season. The Brewers are a perfect example of that right now. Is the first half of the season, or not the first half, but the first couple months of the season were pretty abysmal. It was not fun to watch the Milwaukee Brewers, and all of a sudden they became the most fun team to watch in baseball. And that's kind of where we're seeing this team lead into the playoffs now. But you don't want to take that step back because one little misstep, because it's been such a long season, you have to be at the top of your game at the end of the season. If you're not and you wasted all that top of your game like we're looking at with the Chicago Cubs right now, I think you may find yourself pretty tough road going through the playoffs. This Brewers team right now looks like they're not going to have that tough road. You just have to keep it going.
DZ on Twitter tweets at the Fan Milwaukee. Everyone needs to watch that 1982 Brewers doc on Amazon. Incredible. Charlie, you and I went and saw it just a bit outside at the movie theater. And it really is educational for those people that don't remember what that was like or wasn't alive. You really see how that team really kind of owned Milwaukee and how it became one. The team and the town really connected. I don't know if this team and this town are connected like that necessarily, but by playing up the underdog side of things and the average Joes, nobody knows who we are. That is something that Pat Murphy is trying to build, of pulling for the underdog here in Milwaukee.
I've always been proud of being from the Milwaukee area, for being in this and in this culture. And that 1982 Brewers documentary, Just a Bit Outside, really just made me feel the most proud I've ever felt of being here and being a part of this city and being a fan of the Milwaukee Brewers growing up and now. And this Milwaukee Brewers team this year kind of gives me a lot of the same proudness that I felt when watching that documentary. And I think that's something that a lot of fans are feeling right now. Yes, this Brewers team isn't out at the bars with all the different fans right after a game. The manager isn't out getting drunk with the fans after the game or at his own bar.
Oh, wait, stop. Quickly, if you could pick between Doc, LaFleur, Murphy, who would you want to get drunk with?
Well, LaFleur's last, honestly. I don't want to get drunk with LaFleur. But Pat Murphy, by far, number one.
Easy.
I think that's the easiest.
Not even
one.
close.
Yeah.
Not even close, right? If you want to go have drinks with somebody, it's Pat Murphy. If you want to go to like a cool steakhouse and have dinner, it's Pat Murphy. If you want to have a glass of wine, maybe it's Matt LaFleur. But I don't really drink wine.
Glass of wine, I might be with Doc. I think Doc would be. Yeah. I think even fancy restaurant, I might choose Doc too.
I think Doc's a great storyteller. I could listen to Doc talk all night long. All the stories of him playing, coaching, all of that. Like, I would love to hang out with Doc Rivers. That would be a lot of fun. Pat Murphy, same thing. I'm with you. LaFleur, I don't know, man. He seems
Luke Fickell,
too
I never
fancy
want to
for
hang
me.
out with. Never, ever.
No, I'm not in.
It's not
Luke
a
Fickell
situation
either.
for Luke Fickell for me.
No, definitely not in on Luke Fickell either. All right, take a quick time out. Come back on the other side. Brewers and Giants today. I believe Willie Adama's talking to the media here in a few minutes over at American Family Field. They got the shuttles running to and from the game tonight, and every Brewers home game as well. Also, don't forget, we're out here in large part thanks to Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. They are only $5 while we're here at Kelly's Bleachers on Blue Mountain today. We're here from 2 until 7. This show from 2 to 5:30. And then the leadoff show, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, from 5:30 to 7 with a big old hunk of love. Tommy Wirtz will be out here from 5:30 to 7. We'll have T-shirts to give away, bucket hats, sockets for the phone, all that fun stuff with Fan Logo on. And we'll do that a little bit later on in the afternoon with some trivia and commercial breaks. Come on out, hang out with us. Still to come, Tim Dillard, FanDuel Sports Network, Wisconsin Brewers analyst, joins us coming up at 3:20. Andrew Widener, former Sports Brewers writer, we go inside the clubhouse. Brought to you by Focus Baseball, will join us as well. Straight ahead, we'll change gears. We'll go to the Packers and the Seahawks. Talk more about what we saw yesterday at that crazy practice with people brawling against each other. And now, what now becomes expectations for tomorrow's 3 o'clock kick against the Seattle Seahawks. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Your fan weather forecast, 80 degrees right now outside, mostly cloudy skies. Doesn't look like there's any rain really in the forecast for tonight. Low of 66. Welcome back. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We are on the road at Kelly's Bleachers on Blue Mound. Shuttles to and from the game. Come on out, hang out. Plus, don't forget, we have $5 Sun Cruiser vodka iced teas going on today, made with real iced tea and real vodka, refreshingly smooth, easy to drink, no bubbles to fill you up. It's the perfect game day sipper. I have a Sun Cruise vodka iced tea out here while we're out here till 7 o'clock tonight. And again, a little bit later on, we'll have bucket hat shirts, the little pop sockets for your phones, all of that to give away. Also, got to talk about the Green Bay Packers. I know we talked about the Brewers there in the first segment. Well, Packers and Seahawks, they play tomorrow at 3 o'clock. And I'm interested to see how this team responds after those fights that happened yesterday. And you know, LaFleur today on Kay Adams, I think Charlie has the clip back there on Kay Adams. LaFleur was talking about this morning or yesterday when they recorded it after the fights, about the fights, why he doesn't like the fights, and so forth. And it's pretty much everything we said yesterday about why coaches don't like fights. But here's Matt LaFleur from Kay Adams earlier today.
No, it's disappointing. You want to have a competitive yet disciplined team. And things happen, I know, on the field, and sometimes you don't exactly know exactly what happens out there, but you have to keep your poise. And if you throw a punch, you're out. So that's what happened.
So what did you see out there? I'm too
I saw
a
mosh pit of a lot of things going on.
It was like the biggest fight I've ever seen, I think.
I wouldn't say that, but I wouldn't go that dramatic with it. But it's never good. I mean, you're just not being productive, and you miss out on plays, and some of these guys really need those opportunities on both sides of the ball, and both teams need opportunities to showcase what they can do.
Can we just say this? How could Matt LaFleur tell her not to be so dramatic when he has no idea what fight she's seen in her life? If she said it's the biggest fight she's seen, who are you to argue with what she's seen? You don't know what she's seen.
She went across the entire NFL last season through the training camps and stuff. She was doing it this season too. I'm sure she's seen a lot of fights at these training camps. They happen all the time. So I'd believe her when she says it's the biggest fight she's seen.
I believe her as well. And it was a big fight if you saw it on social media. And if you listen to Zach Dom talking about the fact that this dude, the Seahawks defender, came into their huddle and went to start swinging on one of their running backs, then you understand why Zach Dom said, no. That's not going to happen here. Let's roll. And that's exactly what ended up happening. So now you get essentially today off, right? And now the game is tomorrow. So you get a chance to cool off, cooler heads prevail. Everything is going to be okay. I don't expect to see starters out there for the Green Bay Packers coming up tomorrow, right? Jordan Love certainly is not playing. They would be really idiotic and stupid to start Romeo Doubs or play Romeo Doubs when he's like the only healthy wide receiver they have. So I don't think that's an option. Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave were outstanding, but I'm not risking them to injury. So I know Musgrave has played the last two, not playing them. Because right now, if those wide receivers aren't healthy enough to play, and we're talking about Wicks and Reed, if those two dudes ain't ready to roll, because we know Watson's out, if those two aren't ready to roll in week one, you're going to have to rely on the tight ends, Charlie, in order to move the football through the air and score points against the Lions in week one.
That doesn't seem like such a bad thing to me. The way Jordan Love was talking about these two guys yesterday after practice, what we heard from Andy Herman during practice, what they were talking about, is that the tight ends look like the best players on the field right now. I mean, we put it out there that the wide receivers are still having those drop problems, besides Matthew Golden, who's been almost immaculate with the drops, which kind of worries me. It feels like that he's going to come back down to earth at some point here. I can't expect that 100%, but it just feels like he's almost too good to be true. Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave have been the real deal throughout training camp so far. I think just the biggest thing is as long as Luke Musgrave can stay healthy, that's going to be the key to those guys being as important as we think they are going to be.
Right, so from that aspect, I'm not playing them. You're not playing them either, right, against Seattle? I'm not putting them out there. There's no chance. So those guys probably shouldn't play either. So do the second stringers get into it with the Seahawks second stringers when we get out there with our 3 o'clock kick tomorrow afternoon? Like, are both of these teams that mad that second and third stringers are going to be starting crap with each other out on the field? Or is this a dead issue? Have a clean game. Nobody will be jawing or anything. Because if we're being honest, this is the last chance y'all got, most of you, right? Those of you that are playing for bottom of the roster spots, which is what we're going to see out there, this is your last chance. So you got to stand out on special teams. We know that much. You got to show up. You got to do something if you want to make this team. And if you're playing for last wide receiver or third or fourth running back or tight end or whatever, you want to pop. You want to pop on tape, make a big play, put some doubt into their mind if they're thinking about cutting you. Maybe we should keep them after all, at the end of the day. This is kind of like the Super Bowl for the undrafted free agents. This is like the Super Bowl for anybody that is like Malik Heath. He's fighting for his roster spot. He has not been good to this point. And I don't know if LaFleur's made up his mind on him yet or not, but this is a guy that must not make any mistakes coming up tomorrow.
Well, and they already gave Bo Melton the extra benefit of the doubt. They're moving him to a whole different position in order to keep him on this team. They didn't do that with you, Malik. They're not giving you that same kind of love. You need to go out there and have the best game of your preseason career, the best game of your whole career, even if it is against second and third stringers and practice squad players. You have to prove you belong on this team. And right now, I think he's kind of the odd man out in this scenario. Some of these other guys that they've brought in to get snaps have looked pretty good. I think those guys will get those practice squad spots. Malik Heath, it doesn't really seem like you got a spot on this team. You have to play your best game. And you could say that about a lot of different players.
The other part about this, too, when we start talking about expectations for this game coming up tomorrow, can Malik Willis go have a moment tomorrow when he's out there? Can Malik Willis go play really well for, I'm guessing he's going to play at least a quarter. Maybe he'll play a half. I don't think I'd play him a half. I think I'd play him a quarter. I'd let Sean Clifford play the second and third quarter, and then Elgersma maybe play the fourth. Or if you know what Clifford is and you want more Elgersma action, let him go out there and play the second and third quarters. We'll see how they divvy up that time. Because the other part about this is, knowing Jordan Love's history the last 2 years, Charlie, you cannot afford Malik Willis to get hurt in this football game tomorrow.
No, you can't. And honestly, Malik Willis is a guy that I think will benefit from just having a day off here. I think he's looked a little worse at points so far in the preseason, especially in the games, than what a lot of people expected him to be. He's taken a lot of sacks during practices from words from the Packers beat writers. These are all things that I think worry you a little bit if that's your backup quarterback and you want to give him that little bit extra time to kind of cool down just in case he will need to go into this game. Jordan Love's still coming off of surgery. He expects to play. He said that. But at the same time, if he has to come out of that game, you want Malik Willis to be in the best mindset. And right now, what we've seen in camp, it doesn't seem like he is currently at that spot. I think a guy like Elgersma is a guy that can kind of upset Sean Clifford in this situation. He's played really well in the preseason games from what we've seen from him, at least. And I think that helps him out a little bit. I think that's where you need to keep your focus. We've said it before you've said it before, where you think this third string quarterback battle is kind of a big deal during the preseason. I don't think it's a big deal until this game. This is the game where they decide for sure who's going to be that third stringer. And Sean Clifford has just kind of by default taken that spot each of the past few years. Elgersma has a lot to prove, and I think he can go out there and take that spot from Clifford. If that's the case, then I don't even think you really bother with Malik Willis.
I think the other part about this is, and again, football talk here on The Fan, presented by Paramount Plus. You can't count on much these days, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Watch your local NFL game live every Sunday on CBS and Paramount Plus all season long. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. The other thing about this, too, when we start talking about this quarterback situation, if Elgersma and Clifford are even, I think they're going to go with Clifford because they know Clifford. He's been in the offense for a year. But if they're both going, I don't think they're both going, but let's say Clifford goes to the practice squad. Let's say Clifford puts some good stuff out there on the film this week and plays 2 quarters and does something. Who knows? Who's to say that somebody doesn't come try and steal Sean Clifford off that practice squad if they have a quarterback injury in their last preseason game, or the starter gets hurt, they need a backup in week 3 or week 4. I know you're smirking over there on YouTube. I see you smirking. I'm like, oh, get out of here. He's not good. I agree with you. I'm not a Sean Clifford fan either. I'm just saying good film here could get somebody taken off a practice squad later.
Probably, and I think that's something you see a lot of times. Michael Pratt got taken after the Packers cut him last year, but Tampa Bay picked him up right away afterwards. I think this is, again, just a great situation for these players to go out there and put film out there for every other team in the league. So a lot of these guys probably aren't going to be sticking with the Packers for more than another season, and that could just be a practice squad position. You want to go out there and play your best. And that's also why you can't get into these fights. I know it may be nice to kind of defend your teammates, want to go out there, and if the Seahawks are going to start causing problems, that you want to back yourself up. At the same time, this is for your job. And if you're a player that's got a spot on this team, let's say Malik Willis is going to play that whole first half for some reason, or first quarter, and he starts drawing with the Seahawks defensive lineman, I mean, that could cause issues for just your team in general when the regular season comes. This is not the time to be doing all of this when there's so much on the line for so many of these players.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. All right, so what are your expectations going into this game, Charlie?
I expect Elgersma. This is the guy that I've been hyping up. I love his style of play. I was doing this with Michael Pratt last year too. I just want to see one of these guys get a shot. I expect him to play a whole half of this game probably, and I would say he goes over 250 yards. That's my guess.
Get out of here. 250 for Elgersma.
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, man, I can't get
I'm feeling good about that too. Mm-hmm. I didn't
either there. You were drinking some of these vodka iced teas from Sun
Not
Cruiser
yet.
before you came into
Not
the
yet.
studio today.
Nope, not yet.
250.
Mm-hmm.
That is crazy for Elgersma. No way. All right. Well, I didn't know we were going to make hot take predictions in the expectation segment, but if we're going to make hot take expectations instead in this segment, I'll say, man, I don't know if I can top 250. That seems pretty nuts to me. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll do this. I'll say Malik Willis ends up playing the first half of the football game, and I'll say Malik Willis rushes for at least 75 yards in the first half of the game, using his legs, getting out there and run. The one thing that I don't like about training camp practices in these scrimmages, I feel like they're making sure he's not running, and they want him to throw and not really utilize his legs. That's not his game. His game is to throw after he runs, right? So we're going to get going on the ground, and then I'll utilize my arm once I take pressure off of people coming at me. That's what he wants to do. I think this is a game here where if he's going to play a quarter or 2 quarters, where you're going to see his legs be put to use a little bit and have Seahawks defenders running all over God's creation, trying to stop him at this point, especially if that second offensive line doesn't protect any better than they did last week, because they didn't protect that well last week. He's going to have to run either way, Charlie.
I think so. But the biggest key is that the Packers are going to have to design plays for him to run. I've said this multiple times. That's one of the biggest flaws with his game, is that he is a good runner, but he doesn't feel the pressure very well. He kind of gets messed up sometimes when the pressure comes fast and he can't get rid of the ball fast enough. You have to find plays that roll him out of the pocket. You got to do some designed runs with a player like Malik Willis. But if you're going to do both those things and he plays a whole half of football, that comes with a lot of injury concern with a player like Malik Willis as well. He's a guy that's going to get hit if you're going to have plays like that. You have to make sure that second offensive line is up and ready to go if you're going to do something like that. But at the same time, you have to start practicing that. Like we said, if Malik Willis is going to have to play in the first couple of weeks of the season here, which history has said, that may have to happen for him, then I think you have to start practicing it in live, real game scenarios like a preseason game.
Right. Absolutely correct. He is. Charlie, use it over there. See Sparky Fifer here. And I'm texting with our guy, Drew Wagner, right now. I think we could get Drew Wagner maybe coming up here in the next segment. We have Tim Dillard coming up at 3:20, which is normally when our guy Drew Wagner is on, because Tim Dillard's normally on every Thursday at 3:20, but the Brewers played a day game yesterday in Chicago, so he couldn't join us. So instead, he will be joining us coming up today at 3:20. Drew Wagner telling me that Willie Adames was supposed to be at 2:30. He got bumped to 2:45 now. So we're still on a hunt for a time for Drew Wagner, but I'm sure we will figure something out here one way or the other. Take a quick time out, come back, other side. We're going to talk about this story that we were going to talk about yesterday and we never got to, and that is this fool, Michael Pena of The Ringer, with some type of, I don't know, vengeance out for John Horst of the Bucks or something. Like, it doesn't make any sense what he wrote about for The Ringer earlier this week. It makes no sense. And again, we've been talking Brewers and Packers all week, really haven't talked Bucks. but I've got to address this a little bit with an idiocy that was written about coming up next. We're out here, Kelly's Bleachers. Come on out, say hi, stop by. A great time out here. We have shirts, we have stress balls, we have the pop sockets for the phones, we have bucket hats, we have fan bags that you can like carry stuff in as well. Charlie, I've been here since 2005. We have never, ever had these many giveaway items at one time in the history of this station on a remote. Ever.
It's a new era, Sparky. We're going big time now,
It is a
baby.
new era. Yes, it is a new era. Yeah, Scarlett's out here. Cal is out here. Cal said he'll arm wrestle anybody. So we'll see how that goes coming up a little bit later today. The big old hunk of love. Tommy Word says he's going to take off his shirt when he's out here coming up at 5:30. That could be a sight for sore eyes. If not, your eyes will be sore after it. So that's all coming up today out here at Kelly's Bleachers. Steve Sparky Fifer with you. And it is, again, Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Our thanks to Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea for having us out here. Welcome back. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's out here at Kelly's Bleachers. Come on out, hang out right here on Blue Mound, steps from the stadium. You take their shuttles to and from the games out here, courtesy of Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea, made with real iced tea and real vodka, refreshingly smooth and easy to drink. Hey, if you love Wendy's classic chocolate vanilla frosty flavors, there's some big news. They're all new Frosty Swirls and new Frosty Fusions. That's the same creamy treat you've always love. Now the flavor refresh. So what are these new flavors? All right, well, we got the Frosty Swirls. We all know those. Strawberry, brownie batter, caramel. And now the Frosty Fusions, Oreo brownie, my favorite, with the chocolate frosty base. Caramel crunch, which is like toffee with the caramel swirl, and Pop-Tart strawberry. So clock in for sweet treat time with Wendy's, all new Frosty flavors. A refresh on a classic. It's got to be Wendy's. All right, let's talk about this idiot, Michael Pena of The Ringer, and what he wrote. And, you know, it's funny because Brian Anderson, who I love to death, Brewers play-by-play guy, hates name-calling. So every time I name-call somebody, I feel like I'm letting Brian Anderson down. That's what I feel like.
Yeah,
Should
but it's
I
pretty
have
funny.
that feeling?
No, it's funny. I think it's great. Every time you
You
call
think it's
somebody
funny,
an
it's
idiot, it's
great.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Every time I do it, I feel like, man, I'm letting BA down again, name-calling. Like, I need to stop name-calling. I don't worry as much about letting my kids down, but for some reason, letting Brian Anderson down is like a whole different level of like disappointment in my life. You know, a whole different level of disappointment. All right. So, anyways, that idiot Michael Pena of The Ringer. This is what he had to say about the Bucks. He suggested that Horst could be playing 3D chess as he tries to get Giannis to force his way out to kickstart a rebuild. Said Pena, quote, Horst still has a few chips to move before the trade deadline. Milwaukee's first-round pick in 2032 is one of the more valuable assets in the entire league, but it's hard to envision any deals that can bring in the amount of win-now talent they need to seriously contend. Somewhat related to all of these issues, I'm struck by how this team's payroll is now as it ostensibly does whatever it can to compete at the highest level. The Bucks rank 23rd in payroll. And when you look at the roster, it's not hard to understand why. Giannis is set to earn over twice as much money as any of his teammates this season. The only other player who can say that is Utah's Lauri Markkanen, a trade candidate. Now, again, my thing and my issue with this is, why in the world, Michael Pena? Why? With John Horst, who just signed an extension, John Horst, who's credited with winning a championship with Giannis, why would he sabotage himself to lead the downfall of the organization under his watch? Like, why would you do that? Do you know who I can think of, Charlie, using, who did that last?
Who?
Jerry Krause. That's the last guy. The GM of the Bulls. You win 6 titles with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman and all of that, and then you force out Phil and Michael and the crew, and the Bulls organization doesn't recover. He sabotaged it. He thought the organization was about the organization. Then it wasn't about Michael. It wasn't about Phil. Nobody's bigger than the organization. So he thought, I'll just rebuild it and do it again. Never happened, and he ended up being a scout for the Dodgers. That's how that ended. Now, again, why would John Horst want to put himself in that situation and go down that path? Do I know John Horst super well? I don't. But I don't think his arrogance level is at the point of, I'll do it again. I'll find another Giannis. I'll find another superstar. So I'm going to trade Giannis and rebuild it and get even more credit than I had before for building this thing. I don't think there's any chance John Horst is trying to do that.
I don't think so either. I like that he starts that like little excerpt with he could be playing 3D chess, but he's not. First of all, I don't play 3D chess. I don't play normal chess because it's too hard for me. I'm going to assume 3D chess is pretty complicated and pretty hard. So if you're saying
my 9-year-old, that's so funny because my 9-year-old is obsessed with playing chess right now. Obsessed. So that's funny, but go ahead.
But if you're suggesting that somebody can just go and do that, that's a little just dumb. Like, that's just a dumb thing to say. And then second of all, I think John Horst is playing 3D chess. Most normal GMs that were comfortable with what their team was doing over the past few years probably would have just stuck with Brook Lopez and paid Brook Lopez, would have found a way to keep all these different players around that were doing the same exact thing over and over again. But he didn't do that. He went and got Miles Turner and let Brook Lopez go. He got a younger version of Brook Lopez. That was pretty impressive. Most people didn't see that coming. He's gone out and retooled this roster, maybe not with the best overall pieces. Yeah, he's not going and trading for Jaylen Brown now that Jason Tatum is hurt. No, he's not bringing back a Drew Holiday. Who cares? He's doing stuff to keep Giannis happy and keep Giannis in Milwaukee, and it's working. It's worked over and over again, and it worked to win them a championship. So maybe instead of just going at him for doing his job and calling him dumb and saying that he's lazy and doing this just to tear down the Bucks, is so unfair to John Horst, who obviously has done enough for this city. At this point, he won them a championship. He got Giannis and helped develop Giannis to the point that he's right now, where he's a multiple-time MVP. And now we're just going to say he's not doing anything? That's crazy.
See, the other part about this is you bring up Brook Lopez, but how about the creativity to stretch and release Damian Lillard in order to get a younger player in Miles Turner to replace the aging Brook Lopez and essentially do the same thing Brook did, but be younger and more athletic while doing it, to pair with Giannis for the next 5 years. Who else in this league is thinking about stretching and releasing Damian Lillard if they have him under contract, Charlie? What other GM does that and then gives Turner the deal that he gave him? Like, nobody else does this but John Horst. Who else pulls off a Damian Lillard trade to begin with nobody in the league knowing about it, or that they were even talking, or that it was coming? The Portland GM and him knew. He told the Portland GM, you tell anybody we're not doing the deal. This has to be kept on the down low. The dude listened. They pull off the trade. Drew Holiday goes. Who else pulls that deal off? Nobody else is pulling that deal off. And with nobody knowing about it, when everybody was talking about Miami and Lillard, you turn around and get Lillard and screw Miami in the same conference and did it without anybody knowing. Come on, man. Like, that's just absolutely ridiculous to think that John Horst would be trying to screw over this organization and screw over Giannis so he could trade Giannis. No GM in the right mind would trade Giannis.
No. And I think what John Horst has done each time he's changed this roster or adjusted this roster, it's come with a very clear course of action that I think most people can see. When they got Drew Holiday and brought Drew Holiday to this team, it's because they felt like they had something going when they had Eric Bledsoe, but they needed a player that was going to be more consistent for them, a player that was going to be a better defender on the perimeter, and maybe somebody who can help you out on offense a little bit more than Eric Bledsoe could too. So they go and get a Drew Holiday and replace him there. Then as they win a championship and things start going downhill, things getting a little stagnant, maybe he goes and says, you know what, we can upgrade this roster even more. We can get a Damian Lillard, a guy that on paper fits perfectly with the Giannis Antetokounmpo. After 2 years of Damian Lillard, he realized, oh, maybe we need to work backwards to go forwards a little bit. Maybe we noticed that Giannis Antetokounmpo, it's just a better overall player when he's the main player on the court and the whole team is running through one player instead of two players. And now they're doing that. I think he has a very clear course of action every single time that most fans can recognize. And it's just, again, weird to me that this guy that is supposed to be a national sports writer can't see those clear courses of action each time.
Michael Payne of the Ringer says the Bucks have a fatally flawed roster. Is that a fair assessment? That's what we want to know from you. Nikolai Love Fan Talk at text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Sound off with a recorded voice message on the Odyssey app, Facebook, and Twitter at The Fan Milwaukee. Can I also point out that if this guy, see, I didn't call him a name. If this guy, Michael Pena, was covering MLB, he would be hypercritical of the Milwaukee Brewers as well. He would have given the Brewers no shot of doing anything. And even when they were doing what they were doing, he would be going after Matt Arnold for something one way or another, because the Brewers have built their roster differently than everybody else too, and doesn't fit into the box that Michael Pena wants the Bucks to fit their roster into.
I very much believe he would say the same exact thing about that too. I mean, the Ringers, Bill Simmons, it's a bunch of Celtics fans probably
Mr.
all just,
Boston.
Yep, they're all just out there putting their opinions and their own personal beliefs out there without just looking at these rosters and analyzing them like I know these writers can't. These writers are good. They know their jobs. This just seems lazy to all of a sudden say, I don't see what you're doing, so I'm just going to call it bad. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yep, no, I totally agree. We got some people watching here on YouTube. Don't forget, subscribe, right? Subscribe while you're here. Thanks for listening, watching the whole deal. Like our stuff, share our stuff with friends and family. I'll give you an example of what happened today, Charlie. I went to the gas station before I came over here to Kelly's Bleachers where we're doing the show today on Blue Mob. I get out of the car, pumping gas. This guy behind me is pumping gas. He's like, Sparky? I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, my God. I can't believe that you're here, like, right now and whatever. I was like, yeah, man. He's like, man, I used to listen to Big Show all the time back in the day, blah, 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 blah. And when that happened, I just stopped listening to sports talk radio. I don't listen anymore. So I told him, I said, well, good news. We're back. Come on out to Kelly's Bleachers. Come hang out. Gave him my lineup, the whole deal. So people still don't know is my point, right? We just started this thing back up last year. So what we need you all to do is help us, right? Share some of the YouTube stuff. Share some of the stuff on social media. And look here, I got this right here. Look at that. There's that fan bucket hat I was telling you all about. Got the fan bucket hat right here. If you're watching on YouTube, we got that out here. Multiple colors. I got blue, got green, got the whole deal. I got this right here, too, on YouTube. I got this fan bag right here that you can come out here. Got a chance to win that as well. Now, these are those stress ball thingies that I was telling you about. I don't know exactly. Well, how would you describe that? Like, it's those, like, you press them in, like, pop things or whatever?
It's like a pop socket ball. I don't know. I've never seen one of those, man. That's pretty nuts.
Yeah, I don't know. Tom's out here.
Fan.
Yeah, Tom's out here too, and I just gave him one. And then of course we have the ones for the pop sockets for the radio station as well that you can come out here and get. We got T-shirts out here, the relief pitcher T-shirts out here. Come on out, hang out. Kelly's Bleachers on Blue Mountain. Would love to see you out here this afternoon before the Brewers and Giants get underway. I'm here to 5:30. Then Tommy works. A big old hunk of love will be out here 5:30 to 7 with the leadoff show. Powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. You'll hear from Pat Murphy. Willie Adames is talking to the media as we speak right now for the San Francisco Giants. So we'll hear from Willie Adames before the game. And we're out here at Kelly's Bleachers in large part because of Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea, made with real iced tea, real vodka. Refreshingly smooth and easy to drink. Coming up on the other side of a quick timeout, we get more into what is going on with this Brewers team. And my guy, Charlie Usen, God bless him, found something on Fangraphs, I swear to you, I've never heard of. But he explained it to me on the phone and said, this is what it means. And it's a negative stat kind of concerning the Milwaukee Brewers. And whether or not this is a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. But Charlie's going to help us all figure this out coming up here at the top of the hour. Don't forget about that. Also, Potawatomi Sportsbook Fantasy Football Draft. If you're looking to have your fantasy football draft somewhere, Potawatomi Sportsbook, 6,500 square feet. The second floor is where you would have your league's fantasy football draft. 14 teams or less. You get a smorgasbord of food, 3 drinks. They provide a podium for you to go up to make your picks at. You get the poster board. You get all the stickers for all the teams and all the players to be drafted as well. There's a fee attached to every player, but I'm telling you, there's no guarantee they do this again after this year. Could be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You're on the second level. You're looking at the wall of games. The center screen is 2,000 square feet. That's bigger than probably some of our houses at this point, probably most of our houses at this point. Go check it out. Sign up today for your date and your time. If you want to get your league there to do your fantasy football draft there, go to Potawatomi.com/sportsbook. Out here at Kelly's Bleachers, we'll talk about this new, I don't know, would you call it a stat, Charlie? What exactly would you call this thing we're going to talk about?
It's a category, and it's not really new. It's been out since 2010. That's when Fangraphs came up with it.
That's new to me. That's 15 years. We'll talk about that coming up next here on The Fan.